Sarah Martinez had always been different from other girls in her small Texas town. While her classmates spent weekends at shopping malls and sleepovers, she could be found at the local shooting range with her grandfather, a Vietnam veteran who taught her everything about firearms. Her hands, small and steady, could handle a rifle with precision that amazed even seasoned hunters. Growing up, Sarah faced constant doubt about her abilities. Her high school shooting team coach initially refused to let her join, claiming girls didn't have the physical strength for competitive shooting. After weeks of persistence, he finally allowed her to try out, expecting her to quit within days. Instead, Sarah not only made the team, but became their top scorer within 3 months. Her college years brought new challenges. Sarah studied criminal justice while maintaining her shooting skills, often practicing alone because male teammates felt uncomfortable being outperformed by a woman. Despite the isolation, she pushed forward, driven by a dream that seemed impossible to most people around her. She wanted to serve her country in the most elite military unit possible. The military recruitment office buzzed with activity when Sarah walked in on a hot summer morning in 2018. The recruiting sergeant, a burly man with graying hair, looked her up and down with obvious skepticism. When she mentioned her interest in special operations, he chuckled and handed her brochures for administrative positions and nursing corps opportunities. Sarah politely declined and insisted on learning about combat roles. The sergeant explained the physical demands, the mental pressure, and the reality that very few women had ever attempted such paths. He described the grueling training, the hostile environments, and the brotherhood that might not welcome her presence. Sarah listened patiently, then asked where she needed to sign up. Her basic training experience proved both challenging and revealing. Physical fitness came naturally to Sarah, who had spent years conditioning her body through hunting trips and outdoor activities with her grandfather. However, the social dynamics were complex. Some fellow recruits supported her ambitions, while others made it clear they believed she was taking a spot away from a deserving man. During weapons training, Sarah's abilities began to shine. Her marksmanship scores consistently ranked in the top 5% of her class. Instructors who had initially dismissed her capabilities started paying attention. Word spread quickly through the training facility about the small woman who could outshoot almost everyone in her unit. The advanced individual training phase brought Sarah closer to her goal. She specialized in military police duties, while secretly preparing for the special operations selection process. Late nights were spent studying tactics, improving her physical conditioning, and practicing with various weapons systems. Her determination never wavered. Even when exhaustion threatened to overwhelm her, fellow soldiers began to notice Sarah's commitment. Some offered encouragement and training tips, while others continued to question her motives. A few suggested she was seeking attention or trying to prove a point rather than genuinely wanting to serve. Sarah ignored the negativity and focused on her preparation for the next crucial step in her journey. The day came when Sarah submitted her application for special operations selection. Her commanding officers reviewed her records with surprise and concern. Her physical fitness scores exceeded requirements, her marksmanship ratings were exceptional, and her psychological evaluations showed remarkable mental toughness. However, they worried about the challenges she would face in an overwhelmingly male-dominated field. News of Sarah's application spread through her unit like wildfire. Reactions ranged from genuine support to outright mockery. Some soldiers placed bets on how quickly she would quit during the selection process. Others whispered that the standards would be lowered to accommodate her participation. Sarah heard these conversations but refused to let them derail her focus. The selection notification arrived on a crisp autumn morning. Sarah had been accepted into the preliminary screening phase for Navy SEAL training. The letter outlined the reporting date, location, and basic requirements. As she read the details, Sarah felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She was about to enter a world where very few women had ever set foot. Preparation for SEAL selection consumed Sarah's every waking moment. She studied ocean survival techniques, practiced underwater breath holding, and pushed her physical limits even further. Her family expressed both pride and concern, knowing the dangers and difficulties she would face. Her grandfather, now in his 70s, offered quiet words of encouragement and shared stories of his own military service. The night before departure, Sarah packed her gear with methodical precision. Each item had been carefully chosen and tested during her preparation. As she folded her uniforms and organized her equipment, she thought about the journey that had brought her to this point. Tomorrow would begin the most challenging chapter of her military career. At the airport, Sarah's family gathered to see her off. Her mother fought back tears, while her father offered final words of advice. Her grandfather handed her a small compass that had belonged to his father, a World War II veteran. The weight of family history and expectations settled on Sarah's shoulders as she prepared to board the plane that would take her to Naval Amphibious Base Coronado in San Diego. The flight to California gave Sarah time to reflect on her motivations and goals. She wasn't seeking to make a political statement or break barriers for the sake of headlines. Her desire to serve came from a deep sense of duty and a belief that she could contribute meaningfully to the nation's most elite military unit. The challenges ahead would test every aspect of her character and ability. The California sun was just beginning to rise when Sarah arrived at Naval Amphibious Base Coronado. The facility stretched along the Pacific coastline, its buildings and training areas designed to forge the world's most elite warriors. As she stepped off the transport vehicle, Sarah could hear the distant sound of ocean waves and the sharp commands of instructors drilling other candidates. Check-in procedures were swift and impersonal. Sarah received her room assignment, training schedule, and initial equipment. The barracks were spartanly furnished with metal bunks, lockers, and little else. Her roommate, another candidate named Jennifer, was one of only 3 women in the entire selection class of 240 candidates. The first week focused on physical and medical evaluations. Sarah underwent extensive testing that measured everything from cardiovascular endurance to psychological stability. Medical personnel examined old injuries and assessed her overall health status. During psychological interviews, evaluators probed her motivations, stress responses, and ability to function under extreme pressure. Physical fitness assessments revealed the brutal standards expected of SEAL candidates. Sarah had to complete a minimum of 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups, and 10 pull-ups within specified time limits. The running and swimming requirements were equally demanding. While Sarah met all minimum standards, she quickly realized that merely qualifying was not enough to earn respect from instructors or fellow candidates. Orientation briefings painted a stark picture of what lay ahead. Instructors explained that approximately 80% of candidates would fail to complete the program. They emphasized that quitting was not only acceptable, but expected for most people attempting the training. The psychological pressure began immediately, with constant reminders that failure was the most likely outcome. Sarah's first interaction with her training class was telling. During initial introductions, she noticed the skeptical glances and hushed conversations among male candidates. Some were openly dismissive, suggesting that women would compromise unit effectiveness and lower training standards. Others were politely supportive, while privately harboring doubts about her capabilities. The academic phase of training introduced Sarah to advanced military tactics, navigation techniques, and specialized equipment operation. She excelled in classroom settings, often scoring among the highest in written examinations. Her ability to quickly grasp complex concepts earned grudging respect from some instructors, though others remained skeptical about her potential for completing the full program. Weapons training provided Sarah's first opportunity to demonstrate her exceptional marksmanship skills. The initial firearms assessment involved multiple weapon systems under various conditions. Candidates were required to achieve qualifying scores with pistols, rifles, and specialized sniper equipment. Sarah approached each weapon with calm confidence, drawing on years of experience and training. The shooting range fell silent as Sarah took her position at the firing line. Fellow candidates had heard rumors about her shooting abilities, but most remained doubtful. Many assumed that her previous scores were inflated or achieved under less demanding conditions. The instructor, a grizzled veteran with over 20 years of SEAL experience, watched her stance and grip with professional interest. Sarah's first shots rang out with mechanical precision. Her groupings were tight and centered, surpassing the performance of candidates who had been shooting professionally for years. As she moved through different weapons and shooting positions, her consistency never wavered. Other candidates stopped their own practice to observe her technique and results. Comments from fellow trainees began to shift from skepticism to grudging admiration. Several candidates approached Sarah after the session to ask about her training background and shooting techniques. She answered their questions politely but avoided lengthy conversations, preferring to maintain focus on her own preparation and performance. The lead marksmanship instructor pulled Sarah aside after reviewing her scores. He had never seen such consistent accuracy from a candidate on their first day of weapons training. Her results exceeded the performance of seasoned military veterans and professional competitive shooters. He quietly noted her scores and marked her file for additional observation during advanced training phases. Physical training intensified during the second week. Candidates faced grueling workout sessions designed to push them beyond their perceived limitations. Sarah's compact frame proved advantageous during bodyweight exercises and endurance challenges. While larger candidates struggled with certain movements, she maintained steady performance across all physical requirements. Swimming assessments presented unique challenges. Candidates had to demonstrate proficiency in multiple swimming techniques while wearing full gear. Sarah's technique was solid but not exceptional compared to candidates with extensive water sports backgrounds. She worked extra hours in the pool, seeking to improve her times and build confidence in aquatic environments. Team-building exercises revealed important dynamics within the candidate class. Sarah was often initially overlooked during group formations, with male candidates assuming leadership roles and making tactical decisions. However, her performance during navigation and problem-solving challenges gradually earned her inclusion in more collaborative planning discussions. The first major attrition occurred during the third week. 15 candidates voluntarily withdrew from training, citing physical injuries, family obligations, or simple recognition that the program exceeded their capabilities. Sarah watched as fellow candidates packed their belongings and departed, understanding that each person faced personal limitations and circumstances. Night training operations began shortly after the first round of departures. Candidates learned to operate in complete darkness using night vision equipment and stealth techniques. Sarah's hunting background proved valuable as she already possessed skills in moving quietly through natural terrain and observing surroundings without being detected. During a particularly challenging night navigation exercise, Sarah's team became disoriented in dense coastal vegetation. While other members argued about directions and grew increasingly frustrated, Sarah calmly used her compass and map-reading skills to determine their actual location. Her guidance led the team to their objective ahead of schedule, earning respect from previously dismissive teammates. Stress inoculation training introduced candidates to high-pressure scenarios designed to test decision-making abilities under extreme circumstances. Sarah faced simulated combat situations, hostage rescue scenarios, and time-critical mission planning exercises. Her performance remained steady and methodical, never allowing emotional responses to cloud her tactical judgment. Rumors began circulating about an upcoming special assessment that would test candidates' abilities under the most demanding conditions yet encountered. Senior instructors spoke in hushed tones about an exercise that had historically eliminated large numbers of candidates. Sarah prepared mentally for whatever challenge awaited, knowing that her journey was approaching a critical juncture. The announcement came during morning formation on a foggy Monday morning. Senior Chief Petty Officer Harrison, the lead instructor whose reputation preceded him throughout the Navy, stepped forward to address the remaining candidates. His weathered face showed no emotion as he explained that they would face the Advanced Marksmanship Challenge, an exercise that combined shooting skills with tactical decision-making under extreme pressure. The exercise would take place at a specialized range, designed to simulate real-world combat scenarios. Candidates would face multiple targets at varying distances while dealing with time constraints, physical fatigue, and psychological stressors. The scoring system was complex, factoring in accuracy, speed, tactical awareness, and overall performance under pressure. As candidates prepared for the challenge, Conversations revealed widespread anxiety and anticipation. Many had heard stories about previous iterations of this exercise from instructors and graduated SEALs. The general consensus was that exceptional performance could significantly advance a candidate's standing, while poor performance often led to immediate dismissal from the program. Sarah spent the evening before the challenge in quiet preparation. She cleaned her assigned weapons with meticulous care, reviewed ballistic charts, and mentally rehearsed various shooting scenarios. Her grandfather's compass sat on her small desk, a reminder of the family military tradition she hoped to continue. Sleep came fitfully as her mind raced through possible challenges and responses. The morning of the exercise dawned clear and cool, with gentle ocean breezes carrying the salt scent of the Pacific. Candidates assembled at the specialized range facility, which featured multiple shooting positions, moving targets, and environmental obstacles designed to replicate battlefield conditions. The setup was more complex and demanding than anything they had previously encountered. Safety briefings emphasized the serious nature of the exercise. Live ammunition would be used throughout, and candidates would face scenarios requiring split-second decisions about when and where to engage targets. Medical personnel stood by, and range safety officers maintained constant vigilance. The atmosphere was tense with anticipation and nervous energy. Candidates were divided into small groups for sequential testing. Sarah found herself in the final group, which meant hours of waiting and watching as others attempted the challenge. She observed each candidate's performance, noting techniques and outcomes, while managing her own growing nervousness about the upcoming test. The first candidates to attempt the exercise faced mixed results. Some performed admirably under pressure, while others struggled with the complexity and demands of the scenarios. Several candidates made critical errors that resulted in immediate failure and dismissal from the program. The stakes became increasingly clear as the morning progressed. Comments from male candidates grew more pointed as Sarah's turn approached. Several openly questioned whether she should even attempt the exercise, suggesting that she might be better suited for support roles. A few made crude jokes about women in combat, loud enough for her to hear but quiet enough to avoid instructor attention. Master Chief Rodriguez, a legend in the SEAL community with 3 decades of service and multiple combat deployments, approached Sarah as she prepared for her attempt. His presence commanded immediate respect from all candidates and instructors. He spoke quietly with Sarah, offering technical advice about wind conditions and target engagement priorities. The conversation between Rodriguez and Sarah did not go unnoticed by other candidates. Some interpreted his attention as special treatment, while others recognized it as professional mentorship. Rodriguez had earned the right to offer guidance to any candidate he deemed worthy, and his decision to speak with Sarah carried significant weight among the training staff. As Sarah's group was called forward, the atmosphere on the range shifted. Word had spread about her exceptional marksmanship scores during previous training phases, but many candidates remained skeptical about her ability to perform under the extreme pressure of this particular challenge. Whispered conversations and sideways glances followed her movement toward the starting position. The exercise began with a detailed briefing about the scenario. Sarah would be presented with a hostage rescue situation, requiring precise shooting skills and tactical decision-making. Targets would include hostiles, civilians, and ambiguous figures requiring split-second identification and engagement decisions. Multiple shooting positions would be required, each with different challenges and constraints. Sarah approached the starting line with calm determination. Her breathing was controlled and steady despite the intense scrutiny from instructors, candidates, and range personnel. She checked her equipment one final time, settled her gear into comfortable positions, and focused her mind on the task ahead. The starting signal pierced the morning air with sharp authority. Sarah moved immediately toward the first shooting position, her movements economical and purposeful. The initial targets appeared at distances ranging from 50 to 300 meters, requiring rapid assessment and engagement decisions within seconds of identification. Her first shots rang out with mechanical precision. Each round found its intended target with accuracy that surprised even the most experienced instructors. Sarah's movement between positions was fluid and efficient. never wasting motion or time, while maintaining complete situational awareness of her surroundings and objectives. The complexity of the scenario increased as Sarah progressed through the course. Moving targets appeared unexpectedly, requiring lead calculations and timing that challenged even experienced military marksmen. Civilian targets mixed among hostile ones demanded split-second identification and decision-making that could mean success or immediate failure. Range personnel monitoring her progress began exchanging glances of amazement. Sarah's performance exceeded expectations that had been set by years of observing elite military candidates. Her scores were not only qualifying but were approaching record levels for the exercise. Every shot was deliberate, accurate, and tactically sound. The final phase of the exercise presented the most demanding challenge. Sarah faced a scenario requiring shots at extreme range while under simulated hostile fire. Stress-inducing factors included time pressure, physical fatigue, and psychological pressure designed to replicate combat conditions. Many candidates had failed at this stage despite strong performance earlier in the exercise. Sarah settled into her final shooting position with practiced calm. The target was barely visible at 450 meters, requiring precise calculation of wind, elevation, and timing. Simulated gunfire and explosions created distracting noise, while instructors shouted commands and updates about the tactical situation. The range fell silent as Sarah prepared for her final shot. Everyone present understood that this moment would determine not only her performance on this exercise, but potentially her future in the SEAL program. Candidates who had been openly dismissive now watched with intense curiosity and grudging respect. Sarah's breathing slowed to an almost imperceptible rhythm. Her rifle settled into perfect alignment as she calculated the precise adjustments needed for wind and distance. The crosshairs found their target with steady precision as she applied gradual pressure to the trigger. The shot broke clean and true, sending the round across the range toward its distant target. The impact was confirmed immediately by spotters positioned downrange. Perfect center hit on a target that had challenged experienced snipers throughout the morning. Sarah's total score for the exercise not only qualified her for advancement, but set a new record for the Advanced Marksmanship Challenge. The silence that followed her final shot was profound and telling. Candidates who had been openly skeptical now stood in shocked recognition of her abilities. Instructors exchanged meaningful glances, understanding that they had witnessed an exceptional performance that would be discussed and remembered for years to come. Master Chief Rodriguez approached Sarah as she cleared her weapon and prepared to leave the firing line. His comment was brief, but carried enormous weight among everyone present. He simply stated that in 30 years of military service, he had rarely seen such exceptional performance under pressure from any candidate, regardless of background or experience. The impact of Sarah's performance extended far beyond the immediate exercise. Word spread quickly throughout the base about the woman who had not only met but exceeded the highest standards of marksmanship and tactical performance. Her achievement forced many to reconsider their assumptions about women in combat roles and special operations. Sarah's journey continued beyond that remarkable day on the range. She successfully completed SEAL training and went on to serve with distinction in multiple deployments. Her story became an inspiration for future female candidates, and a reminder that exceptional performance speaks louder than prejudice or preconceptions. The day they laughed at her shot became the day an entire SEAL unit learned to respect the power of determination, skill, and unwavering commitment to excellence.